So Zero Hedge has a article out today. Global Wealth Update. Now, you know how we talk about the 1% own like an ungodly amount of the planet, basically the planet's wealth? The 1% of the global population. That's been updated. It's actually 0.7% now. So not 1% anymore. Just 0.75% of adults control $116.6 trillion in wealth. 0.7%, not even 1% of adults control $116.6 trillion in wealth. This is just not hard to believe, first of all, but still incredible nonetheless. Today, Credit Suisse released its latest annual global wealth report, which traditionally lays out what is perhaps the biggest reason for the recent anti-establishment revulsion: an unprecedented concentration of wealth among a handful of people, as shown in the infamous global wealth pyramid, an arrangement which has, as observed by the shocking political backlash of the past few months, suggests that the lower levels of the pyramid are increasingly unhappy about. As Credit Suisse tantalizingly shows year after year, tantalizingly shows year after year, the number of people who control just shy of a majority of global net worth, or 45.6 of the roughly $255 trillion in household wealth, is declining progressively relative to the total population of the world. And in 2016, the number of people who are worth more than $1 million was just 33 million, roughly 0.7% of the world's population of adults. On the other end of the pyramid, some 3.5 billion adults had a net worth of less than $10,000, accounting for just about $6 trillion in household wealth. And in between is the so-called global middle class, those 1 billion people who, rising anger at the status quo, made Brexit and Trump possible. Incidentally, we tracked down the first Credit Suisse report we found in this series from 2010, where the total wealth of the top layer in the pyramid was a modest $69.2 trillion for the world's millionaires. It has nearly doubled in the 6 years since then. Meanwhile, the world's poorest have gotten, you got it, poorer, and those adults who were worth less than $10,000 in 2010 had a combined net worth of just $8.2 trillion, a number which has since declined to $6.1 trillion as of 2016, despite a $500 million increase in the sample size. The same goes for the layer right above, also known as the middle class. So the first report they found in this series from 2010, they say, where the total wealth of the top layer, again, that's the very top 0.1%, whatever, was $69.2 trillion. It has now nearly doubled in 6 years. So 2010, we had the 2008-2009 crisis. So the next year is the earliest they can get this report. You mean to tell me, or I mean to tell you, that they've nearly doubled $69.2 trillion in 6 years, in the era of massive bailouts of banks, free loans to their banker buddies and their wives and their girlfriends, with deals that say if you don't make profit, it's a taxpayer-funded deal. If you do make profit, you get to keep it all. Those kind of things. And what is this crap we're having now? Deutsche Bank, the Italian banks, they're still in big freaking trouble. We're going to need a bailout. I've already read you the articles. We're going to, not just us, but the whole banking system over here is going to need some help. And I'm over here saying, wait a minute. I thought you guys already had a bailout. And we were told there will be no need for another one. It's a huge one. This will fix all the problems. And yet the problems have only gotten worse. People have only gotten more poor. The middle class has shrunk even more. In that 0.7% now have an even massive, enormous amount more money. The rich get richer while the poor get poorer. In the middle class, as I said, in the middle, counts on the side of the poor because they are getting poorer. You're not hearing that the middle class went up during the last, 6 years. Nope. We're working harder and we're working for less. And a bunch of our money that would be going to make us life a little easier financially on us is going to this thing called Obamacare. Family of 5. $1,200 a month, please. What? Oh, and by the way, you've got to meet your $10,000 deductible on all 5 family members before you actually get us to kick in and pay stuff, combined. What in the hell am I paying for? Just like me, I had this stupid surgery again on my foot. Well, and I think I told you this. I think I mentioned this. Got to go get an MRI. Doctor said he wants an MRI. Since you came back from Mexico, I want to be able to see, because I've got your old MRIs, including the most recent one prior to you going to Mexico. But I need you to get one since you've come back from Mexico, just to make sure I know what I'm looking at, in case there's no additional damage in there that I'm not going to be ready for. Okay, that sounds great. Schedule it up. Yep. He gives me the script. I call, make the appointment. Need an MRI. Okay, we'll set you for next Wednesday. A whole week from now? Yeah, next Wednesday. All right. Not getting a call. So I start calling. Yep, you haven't been approved by the insurance company yet. Still haven't been approved. My appointment's tomorrow. I called next Tuesday. Yeah, you may want to call him. I'll call him. Well, it shows here that it's in the last step that it should be approved. I think it will be approved by tomorrow. Okay, call tomorrow. Did you get approved yet? No. Well, my schedule's for 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'll give you a call at 2 to see if it came through. Call back at 2. Nope. And she says, I'm probably going to have to push this out to Friday because we're still waiting. She goes, but by the way, just so you know, if you pay out of pocket for this, it's only $200. If you go through your insurance company like we're trying to do right now, it actually costs you $250. So I said, so hold on. So I'm sitting here, delayed, waiting over a week now. And I can get this done by paying out of pocket cheaper. Why am I even waiting for an authorization if they know whatever I pay is going to more than cover the bill anyways? They should be approving this immediately. Well, that's true. But just keep in mind, if you do pay it out of pocket today, it does not go towards your insurance fee, like for your premiums or for your, whatever the hell they call that. You got to build up. What is it? The deductible. Yeah, I want it to go towards the deductible because I'm pretty certain I'm going to have a surgery after this, which will need to go to that, so. Okay. So by the time I'm all said and done, I think I got to come up with at least minimum $1,500 out of pocket, plus the however much $300 a month, what the hell I'm paying now for myself every single month. So long story short, what the hell am I doing with insurance again? My mindset was I want to get this insurance this year so that I can do as many surgeries as I need to get this problem solved. So I got my insurance November last year. Right away, beginning of the year, I start looking into getting my foot stuff done. Can't get any doctors to do it. They don't want to do surgery. Go to this guy. We'll put you in physical therapy if you want. No, thanks. We'll give you vitamin B12 shots. No, thanks. Get me the hell out of here. I'll fly to Mexico and have them do it. But they don't take insurance there, of course. I got to pay out of pocket. Pay out of pocket anyways. Plus, I'm paying insurance. Well, damn it, if it fixes my foot, I'm going. I'll go there. Had a good result. But then I had this little soreness down there that remained a little while after, a couple months later. I thought, man, I don't like that. So go to another doctor who then cuts out an inflamed nerve, for sure, in the same spot that they pulled the cyst out of. So here I am today waiting for this thing. Is this going to fix it or not? But point being, we're spending all this money as people, middle class. Why are we spending $1,200 a month for family, I'm not paying that, but that's what it costs. Should I have gotten health care for the family? No, you're going to have to pay your fines and fees next year, Jason, for when you do your IRS. You have a family of 3, you get the tax credit for kids. Nope. That is gone because it's going to go right toward what you owe for not having insurance on your wife and your 3 kids. Pay Uncle Sam. Of course. Moving on. How about the very top? Things here are even more nuanced, with 28.9 million people whose net worth is now between $1 and $5 million, gradually tapering off to just 140,900 ultra high net worth individuals who control more than 50 million million in assets each. Of these, 50,000.8 or 50,800 are worth at least 100 million, and 5,200 individuals have assets above $500 million. The total number of UHNW adults is about 3% higher than a year ago, which was 4,100 individuals. And the increase has been relatively uniform across regions, except for the higher than average rise in Asia Pacific countries, which is 10%. So the wealth differences within and between countries. Wealth differences between individuals occur for many reasons. Variation in average wealth across countries accounts for much of the observed inequality in global wealth. But there is also considerable disparity within countries. Those with low wealth are disproportionately found among the younger age groups who have had little chance to accumulate assets. Others may have suffered business losses or personal misfortune, or live in regions where prospects of wealth creation are more limited. Opportunities are sometimes constrained for women or minorities. In contrast, many individuals can be found at the other end of the spectrum who have acquired large fortunes through a combination of talent, hard work, and good luck. The wealth pyramid in Figure 1, which I'm not showing you, is quite distinctive. The base tier has the most even distribution across regions and countries, Figure 2, but also the most uneven range of personal circumstances. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a peek at that. Let's go ahead and look at that. So you can see the color North America, greater than $1 million is this blue section. Europe over here, China over here, Asia Pacific over here. So all levels less than 10,000, 10,000 to 100,000. You can still kind of see, I mean, it moves a little bit, but you can still see that the ultra wealthy are still ultra wealthy no matter where we're talking about. So ultra high net worth individuals, our calculations suggest that 140,900 adults worldwide can be classed as UHNW individuals, which is ultra high net worth individuals, with net worth above $50 million. Of these, 50,800 are worth at least $100 million. And again, 5,200 have assets above $500 million, and that has grown 3% higher since a year ago. So we have a simple problem here. And this goes back to something I've done a video on at least 3 times because I think it's very informative. And it's called the cycles of government. Okay, the cycles of government. And I think I'm going to find that video. And at the very end of this video, the last 10 seconds or so, better yet, in the description box, I'll put it down there. Because I describe cycles of government going back to like Aristotle and, great philosophers. And they have these different cycles. And one of the delinquency, or whatever they called it, defunct cycles, was called democracy, believe it or not. And then it ends in anarchy, and then the cycle starts over and whatever. But they said, we believe if you have these rules in place, that these cycles don't necessarily have to change. We can have one system that works. And one of the things and I'm going to mention two, the most important, but one of those things was not allowing the government to change laws piece by piece. Take this out, take this out. You must have a foundational law system in which you cannot, let's kind of just slightly remove that piece. Let's pick off that one slowly but surely. Because by the time you get, way down the road, so many of these little things end up being huge and it screws us all over, which is exactly what's happened in this country. The other thing was the amount of wealth a single individual person can how wealthy they can become should absolutely positively be capped. And the reason being is because that someone who is so wealthy can buy their way into anything, can make changes happen across the world by flicking their money around. Think no further than George Soros. Oh, $500 million? $500 million to fund these protests and anti-Trump stuff? No problem. Got that in my back pocket. These are the kind of things they're talking about. So those are two important things. And I want to share that video with you because it's really neat to hear these different cycles of government. It's like history repeating, again, like a cycle, which is why I always say, I look back at history, and history says yada, 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 which is why I always say, recently anyways, history is telling me Trump can't be that guy that comes in and fixes things. According to history, he cannot be allowed to come in and do his job. Assassination, shenanigans, stop him getting it. Something has to happen as far as history is concerned. I don't know what it is, if anything. Believe me, I want to come out here January 20th, turn on the TV, watch his inauguration, no problems, nothing happened. He accepted, he's now the president. And my goodness, he's alive. And then I can come back out here and say, ladies and gentlemen, this is insane because history has said this shouldn't be happening right now. Is it by chance because we have this social media and internet thing now where we can transfer information at lightning speed to each other that we were able to make better decisions for once in our life for the last 5,000 plus years of history? There was no internet. And now that we have this thing, history has now changed, has gone off keel to something different that we get to write. Boy, would I love to come out here and say that. And I will say something, maybe not in those words because I may have already forgotten that specific analogy by January 20th. But I do want to come out and say, oh my goodness, he did it. We did it. It's working. He's not assassinated. They're not, oh my God, I want to do it badly. But up until that point happens, I can't jump on that train yet. I'm sorry. And I may tell a bunch of you guys said I had nothing to worry about. You sent me emails. It's good. He's going to be in there, trust me. And I'm going to say, you know what? All you sons of guns were correct. I chose to go with history. History is very powerful, and it is a very good tool to use, which is why I trust in it. But things can change, and I hope they do change in that respect. Take care.